And good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Wrestletalk. My name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of Wrestletalk. And yeah, what do you want to talk about? And let us talk to you today. And I am the revolutionary. I am Ralph Williams. And I want you to acknowledge me because this is our last show today, Wrestletalk, but I will be doing post Raw, small cuts, and I will be doing post SmackDown starting next week. So I want you to know that. And Smokin Jim will be on and I will be on for specials like SummerSlam. We have a pay-per-view Backlash. 2 matches have already been set for Backlash. That's coming up, and we'll be coming on for special shows to talk about the pay-per-view. There'll only be about a half hour, but we'll be coming on for those things like that with Wrestletalk. It's not going to be on every week, but we will be doing specials and things like that because there's a lot of wrestling shows out there. And, I've been treated like a redheaded stepchild yet again by the wrestling community because, I can't get wrestlers on here and announcers and things like that. And I'm not going to go into it here because I really don't feel like it. So it's a sad situation due to lack of viewership. And also, I'm focusing on my radio shows and also focusing on other projects that I have going on. Smokin Jim will be joining me on the Sports Corner shows, which are both on 2 different radio stations up in Pittsburgh, Friday, 3:00 p.m. on 620 WKHB, and then also on 1250 The Answer on Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. The Sports Corner radio shows are there. Smokin Jim is on TV every single Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. He's on with Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Hayner, and Mike Rohde, and whoever Al can find off the street, Al Levine. They have all different types of people on there. He's had the mayor, the janitor, the community center, the whatever. So anyway, anyway, you can join Smokin Jim on the Bethel Park YouTube channel, Bethel Park TV, or on their Facebook page if you want to check out Smokin Jim. We're also, Smokin Jim and I are on the Steel City Sports World show on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock, along with Big Row and Luther Dupree is the host, along with Claudia Rosano, also Luther Dupree, and Big Row and Fillmore. Now, I want to thank Claudia Rosano. Claudia was on with me on my 3rd segment on the Ralph Williams show. We talked about the first-round draft pick and some of the stuff he's involved in. I want to congratulate him, which I forgot to do on the earlier Sports Corner show. I want to congratulate him. He is being inducted into the Italian Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame. So I want to congratulate Claudia Rosano, who's a really good friend and colleague of ours. Myself and Smokin Jim and Luther. So we're all, congratulations to him. Smokin Jim, welcome to the program. It's great to have you here for Wrestletalk, our final show. How's everything with you today?
Doing good. Going to miss doing wrestling, but hey, sometimes you just got to streamline. I mean, your radio shows are outstanding. All your other shows are outstanding, and maybe the podcast ain't what you were cut out to be. Maybe you were just made for nationally syndicated shows.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's coming, Smokin Jim. I don't know when, but it's coming. That's all I got to say. That's all I know. You know what I mean? God will put me in the right direction. So all you got to do is have faith, and I'll be there sooner or later. I deserve it. All right, Smokin Jim, I don't know where to begin here, but let's get started here. WWE just released. Oh, by the way, I want to congratulate Tiffany Stratton, Tiffy Timer, Smokin Jim. Your girl there. She's the U.S. title champion down in SmackDown. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's my baby. I love her, and winning that championship means that she's going to be with wrestling for a while. I know that you had said that there was her interest is going into being an actress, but we get to have Tiffy time at least maybe for another year or two.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And but she says she is, and she's 27 right now. She said in 3 years when her contract's up with WWE, she wants to leave at 30. She don't want to beat her body up in wrestling, so she's talking about modeling and getting into acting. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but
Yeah,
at least
save that body. Save that body,
that's right.
Chippy.
That's
Save that
exactly it,
body,
man. I mean, yeah. How many times have
man.
we seen some broken wrestlers? I mean, I'm talking men and women, broken wrestlers that are just their bodies are so broken. How many times have we seen guys and walking around with walkers and in wheelchairs and all that other stuff because they broke their body up? Brock Lesnar stepped away at WrestleMania, and we know why that is. He has a health condition that he needs to step away. If he doesn't step away, he's 52 years old. I mean, in the wrestling business, once you reach 40 years old, you kind of got to be careful with your body. Your bone structure changes, things like that. I was taught that by a nurse who told me that once you're 40 years old, your bone structure changes. He was a sports nurse, this guy. I met him driving a cab, and he told me, he said, he says, when you turn 40 years old, your bone structure changes. So you got to be careful what you do. Why do you think some athletes leave before they're 40? Smoking, Jim, because
Aaron
they,
Rodgers ain't leaving. Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers ain't
I know.
leaving.
Tom Brady probably will play at 50 years old. He'll be out there. Don't worry. You know, he'll want to break a record or something. You know how that is. But I mean, no, I know. But I mean, he's the exception to the rule. There's a few guys that are still out there, but Yarmer Yager's still playing hockey at 50 years old. So I mean,
Is he? Is he
yeah,
still playing?
yeah,
Wow.
he's in Russia. Why do you think Malkin's leaving at the end of the year? He's done. His contract's up. He's going back to Russia. He wants to play with Yager.
Wow.
So yeah. So, but anyway, in the wrestling business, if you're beyond 40 years old, that's a bonus. And if you're wrestling till you're 50, that's a bonus. Why do you think some of these wrestlers cut back when they turn 50, like Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker? He got out when he was 52. And the Triple H, Paul Levesque, had a heart attack, in his 40s and things like that. And guys that are and gals that are in this business, some of them look, shabby, but some of the women that got out early, like Trish Stratus, still has her figure together. You know what I mean? And some of the other ones. I just saw what's her face? Victoria, and she still looks good. And I saw some of the other ones. Molly Holly doesn't look too bad. But I will tell you, somebody who really kind of looks really old, and I didn't even recognize her, was Linda McMahon. When she did the induction of Stephanie into the Hall of Fame, and I seen her up on stage, I didn't even recognize her. You know what I mean? So I mean,
Wow.
the older you get, sometimes you become unrecognizable, and sometimes, I had my contractor down here. He thought I was in my 40s, and when I told him how old I was, he almost fell over. He says, "You don't look like you're that old." I said, "I've been told that many times." So I don't know. People still call me a young man, even though I'll be 58 this year. They still call me a young man.
You closing in. What you gonna do for the big one, man?
What, the big 6-0?
Yeah.
I'm going to thank God I'm still alive.
Okay.
Because most of the people that have diabetes like I do, they usually start dying in their 50s and heart conditions and things like that. Me, I've been fortunate. You know what I mean? I've been blessed. And now that I'm down here, I'm even more blessed. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So my health has been a lot better down here than it was when I was in Pittsburgh. And, I don't have the hustle and bustle, and things like that, like I do, like up there. It's down here. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just, I get to see the ocean every day if I want. I get to, you know what I mean? Everything's here. I go right up the block, up the road, down the street. I got everything. I got a state park right behind me. I got an airport behind me. I got my own, we got our own swimming pool in the plan here. I don't have to, I don't have to go far to the pool. I got a lake right here in my plan. I can go fishing. I mean, it's just, it's beautiful here.
Is the air fresher down there?
Yes, it is. Yeah. We get the mist from the ocean. We get the salt air. You can smell it sometimes when the wind's blowing. We do get a lot of gusty winds down here, though. That's one thing we do get, so, But yeah, it's nice down here. But like I said, let's get back to this here. Tiffany Stratton, new U.S. title holder. I knew it was coming because she wanted to get back into the championship thing. And, but to make sure Stephanie Vercour doesn't become a champion again, the Judgment Day wiped her out on Raw last night, Smokin' Jim. What are your thoughts on that one?
Wow.
They wiped her out last night. She's hurt now. She got a broken AC joint in her shoulder. So, that's going to be a while, for her. So I don't know what their intention of taking her out. So Liv Morgan doesn't really have any opponents, but So Ruka just came up from NXT, and she's tough. I watched her in NXT. She's been the NXT Women's Champion. She's been the North American Women's Champion. She's accomplished everything she needs to. Speaking of NXT people coming up, Smokin' Jim, Ethan Page is up. And he's trying to get into the Intercontinental title hunt. Last night he beat up Penta pretty good, him and Rusev. Rusev was angry because he lost the match to Penta due to Page's interference, more or less, but he still beat up Penta with Page. And then, gave Page a kick and got out of the ring. Rusev did. But we're going to talk about the cuts coming up as well. WWE making some crucial cuts this past week, and some of them, I read something today from one of the prominent wrestling publications who I'm not going to mention their name on here because they wouldn't come on our show, number one, and number two, they don't pay us. So I'm not talking to them at all, or about them anyway. But I will say they are a very good publication. They said some of them wrestlers, Triple H has talked with, Paul Lefebvre has talked with TKO. He wants to bring 5 of them back. And I don't know who they are yet, but they want to bring 5 of them back. Smokin' Jim, I'm going to go over the list a little bit here. Aleister Black and Selena Vega. What are your thoughts on them getting cut?
Very surprised.
Yeah, I was too, because they just brought Aleister Black back last year. I had to get that all out. That's what we call in broadcasting a tongue twister, black back. We just brought Aleister Black back, so anyway. But, they just brought him back, and I thought he was going to be in the championship hunt. He's been sort of remember when I told you what a jobber is? He was bumped back to a jobber, okay? And, so I didn't, he hasn't been really doing a whole lot. He's just been agitating people and doing some other stupid crap. Just like I did with Karrion Kross. And Kross now is with MLW and some other places, and he's going around the independent circuit. He says he feels the best he's ever felt. He got screwed by the WWE, which, of course, he did. They kept him as a jobber, okay? And here's the next one, Smokin' Jim. You ready? The Motor City Machine Guns. This here one really bothers me because they are one of the best tag teams in the world, if not the best. They've been everywhere. They've won everywhere. They're like the Hardys. They've won everywhere. They are a well-known worldwide tag team. And I'm hearing AEW is scooping up some of these people. Tony Khan has already had negotiations with the Motor City Machine Guns. But the problem is they can't go anywhere for after 90 days. There's a clause in the all WWE contracts that you have to be on a 90-day cooling period before you're allowed to go anywhere else. So Tony Khan, I hear, is interested, has been talking with the Motor City Machine Guns. So you'll see him in AEW, and I'll tell you what, do you know what they'll do in AEW? They'll do some things that they couldn't do in the WWE, and they became jobbers. And I was frustrated with that. I thought when they came, I said, oh, you know what? They're going to be a great tag team. They're going to hold on to belts for a while. And then all of a sudden, they became jobbers. And look at Tommaso Ciampa. He's a champion. And he hasn't even been in AEW that long. It took him forever to get a championship up in WWE, besides what he did in NXT. And they used him as a jobber, him and Johnny Gargano. So and there's the whole Wyatt family got cut. The whole family. That to me is a puzzling mystery because they just got done battling out with Solo Sikoa. That was turning into a real thing, and I was kind of enjoying that. You know what I mean? That feud between them and Solo and the MFTs. So I mean, and But to cut those wrestlers like that, I thought was a problem because I just can't understand how in the world they did that. All right, here we go. We got all right, who do we got? We got Pensman checking in. Hey, Pensman, how are you? All right, Pensman just got home. Thank you. Pensman Sports, check out his stuff. Check out Brian Pettit's stuff as well. They both do shorts, shows with me, and shows. We all do shows together, all different types, all over social media. That's another reason I'm getting rid of this show too, because I'm teamed up with them guys and we're doing different things as well. So just to let you know that. And then Pensman says Christian and Edge versus the Motor City Machine Guns in AEW would be a great match. Yes, it would. That would be one heck of a match. So FTR is given Christian and Adam Copeland another opportunity at the titles, but there's something they want from them, and I believe it's they want their careers. And I hear Adam Copeland's winding down his career. Christian probably will as well. I don't believe they have any more in the tank. I know Adam Copeland said he's tired and he wants to get out of it, and he's going to finish his contract with AEW. Smokin' Jim, what do you think? Do you think they can beat FTR, or do you think this is just a publicity stunt just to get people to watch the match?
Oh, man, I need to hear your comments on this one, Ralph.
Hang on a second. Wow. Sorry, everybody. I had a frog in my throat here, and I had to, couldn't even talk. I was getting ready to do a big cough, and I didn't want to do it on the air, so I had to get off the air here for a minute, take a drink. So apologize for that. But anyway, I think FTR will probably win the match. Adam Copeland and Christian will probably go out in the sunset as always. And like I said, both of them are saying that their bodies are getting a little beat up. They're up in age. They're in their early 50s. And I don't think there's anything else for them to do. Adam Copeland's already in the Hall of Fame, with the WWE. So we'll see what happens as it moves along. But here's the thing that I like about AEW, and then we'll get back to WWE. Chris Jericho's been getting picked on by Ricochet and his gang there and his two cronies. And so Jericho said, okay, fine. You want to pick on me? You want to beat me up? You want to gang attack me? Guess who he got to help him out? You ready?
Yeah.
He got the Hurt Syndicate.
Wow.
To help him out.
Wow.
And remember, Adam Copeland did that against FTR. Remember when FTR kept taking him out when Christian Cage was out on injury and they kept on taking out Adam Copeland? Who did he go get? The Hurt Syndicate.
That's right.
Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley's back, so they're back in the groove here, as they say, as Kiss used to say, back in the New York groove. So they're back in the groove. So, but anyway, they're and God bless Gene Simmons. He's 80 years old and still out there touring and doing things and playing music. So God bless him. So anyway, let's get back to wrestling here a little bit. But that's what's going on in AEW. MJF lost the belt to Darby Allin. The reason for that was because he's going to go do a couple movies. Not sure when he'll be back. So we'll see what happens with MJF as we move along there. He was good in that one movie about wrestling. I forget what it was called, but he was good in that movie. I didn't see it, but I heard he was pretty good. Played a manager or something, I think, or a former wrestler or something, but it wasn't bad. So, all right, what's going on with Maxwell Jacob Freeman? Well, I'll tell you what's going on, Pensman. He's going into the movies, and I'm not sure when he'll be back. Darby Allin won the belt. We'll see where that goes. The Death Riders are looking at him again. That kind of thing. John Moxley and his gang are still there. So AEW is pretty much covered with some of the stuff that they're doing. But let's get back to the cuts here at WWE, Smokin' Jim, because we got off track here a little bit. Let's talk. Kairi Sane got cut. What's your thoughts on Kairi Sane getting cut?
Ooh, there's just no room.
Yeah.
Man, how many of these cuts is going to shock be very surprising to me. But what can you do, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you this: there was one bowl of food and too many dogs trying to get it.
That's
You
true. That's true.
know, there's only one bowl of food. So I mean, and you got a lot of jobbers like Otis and that Desira. I wish they, Maxine Dupree. We haven't seen her. Well, she's hurt again. And then you got Natalia doing. I told you she was in a match a few weeks back with Shayna Baszler and some wrestling MMA kind of combination group or wrestling group or something that has it have a round ring with no ropes around it, and it's like an octagon, but it has no ropes or no cage or no nothing, and you wrestle there. And I watched them wrestle. That was a pretty good match, So I saw that, and then I sent you the documentary, Smokin' Jim, or that little report about Matt Riddle. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe what I saw. I mean, he just, I don't know. He burned his bridges with the WWE so bad they don't want him back. He's going to be another CM Punk. It took a while for them to bring Punk back. Vince McMahon said he'll never come back again. And then when Vince went, they brought him back, for money purposes. I don't know what's going to happen with him and AJ Lee. I have a feeling, and I've been hearing reports, and I brought this to everyone's attention last Tuesday, that CM Punk and AJ Lee are taking a break. When you haven't wrestled in so long, your body takes a beating, and CM Punk's, I've noticed ever since he's come back, even when he was in AEW, that he's been slow, and and he's in his 40s, and it's not uncommon for, again, here we go, your body shutting down and things like that with him. And AJ Lee hasn't wrestled in 10 years. I don't care how much you train. I don't care how good you train. If you haven't wrestled in 10 years, you got ring rust. And I knew that championship wasn't going to be what it was anyway with AJ Lee. And she's got mental issues that go back a long time. And she's written some books. She makes public appearances about mental issues and stuff like that. So maybe she might be sticking to that. I think she was just brought back along with CM Punk just to try to boost some things up. Now that Roman Reigns is back and he's the champ, Smokin' Jim, and we could see another bloodline again. What do you think about that?
Roman Reigns being champ?
No, I mean him coming back as champ, and then also the return of the possible bloodline again with the Usos. And I think that Jacob Fatu bit off more than he can chew. I think he's going to lose to Roman Reigns, and I think he'll join the bloodline after finding out that his cousin's going to whip his butt. And so what do you think about that?
Well, you know I love it. You know I love it, brother.
Acknowledge me. There you go. That's right. Acknowledge me.
I think Roman Reigns said he'll be around all summer, right?
He'll be around at least all summer, yeah. I don't know what his movie schedule is. I don't know what their plans are, but TKO has made it perfectly clear they don't want no part-time wrestlers anymore, so he's going to have to do full-time work. You know what I mean? Make appearances and all that stuff. So, but I don't know what his contract states. I'm not sure exactly, but it's good to see him back and in charge and back again. They had to bring somebody back because I heard CM Punk wasn't doing it. I just, he just wasn't doing it. And I think it's great to bring him back. But, we'll see what happens with the Vision. Braun Breaker's back. They had a confrontation last night, Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. And they will fight at Backlash coming up in a couple of weeks. What do you think of this match?
Braun Breaker and who?
And Seth Rollins.
I just don't think Seth is healthy enough to beat Braun. Well, Braun is hurt too, but I just think that
Braun's younger. So when you are younger, you can recoup from injuries faster. And Seth has had many. Knees, shoulders, back. I
agree with you. I think it's a bad matchup for Seth.
Yeah, I believe it is. And if you've noticed, since Seth has been hurt, and if you've noticed over the last 6 months or a year or more, Seth has been getting more involved in broadcasting. He likes sports. He likes the Chicago Bears. I heard he's on a radio show in Chicago, on a Chicago radio show quite often. He lives in Davenport, Iowa. So I guess that's not too far from Chicago or whatever. I'm not sure what the geographical situation is there, but I do know that he was on the draft coverage on the NFL Network all 3 days. And I think maybe his future might be in sports broadcasting. And he's always on ESPN. He's always on NFL Network. He was on some where did I see him? He was involved in a boxing fight or something. If I remember correctly, or something on ESPN. He's always on TV, so he's going to be a guy that I think his life's work will be broadcasting after he's done with wrestling. As Chuck Noll would say, "Get on with your life's work." So yeah, I believe that. Becky, on the other hand, she just won another belt, and I think she's going to be a wrestler for a little while. I don't know how much more time she's going to wrestle. But I know Seth, his health is just not there. I mean, he's had knee surgeries, back problems for many years. He may have to take time off like Shawn Michaels did, reinvent himself and come back. Because Shawn Michaels years ago had to take off because he had a back problem. He was off for 5 years. And then he came back healthy and was able to wrestle again. But it's amazing how his body's beat up. Maybe he just doesn't, I know his intensity. I love his intensity to wrestle. I get that. He's an accomplished wrestler. He'll be a Hall of Famer. I get that. But sometimes the body tells you no. That's it. So. But anyway, yeah. And then he did call the Bears pick Pensman. Yes, he did. And he was on the broadcast on the NFL Network after the draft. On the third day, he was on the broadcast. He was on in the morning before the broadcast on NFL Network. So he's been on doing broadcasting. So I think Seth Rollins is going to do that as well. But then you have Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. We already talked about that for Backlash. That's 2 matches already set for Backlash. I think Jacob Fatu better find somebody else to wrestle because he's wrestling his cousin. And I don't think he's going to win. I think Roman will win that match anyway. And I think Jacob will end up joining the Bloodline, and they're going to get it back up and running. Probably go after the Vision, and so on. But Smokin' Jim, back to some more of these cuts in the WWE here. And then folks being brought up from NXT. They had to make room for them as well. I'm hearing Ricky Saint is coming up next. And in fact, I think he was already up on SmackDown. Ricky Saint, formerly known as Ricky Starks. What do you think about him and Ethan Page coming up?
Well, I'm all for Ethan Page. He's a trash talker. He's good. He's Canadian or one of those things. He plays that up. The other guy's thin, but everybody seems to like his championship capabilities. He got the belt pretty quickly on NXT. I just don't see it what everybody else sees in him. But whatever he got it. And they seem to like it. So, but I do see the magic with Ethan Page. He can get under your skin. He can get you out of your game a little bit. But the other guy's still a puzzle to me.
All right. What are your thoughts on the Wyatt Six all getting cut? What do you think about that? We didn't go into that too much. What are your thoughts on the Wyatt Six?
What you mean?
Getting cut from the WWE Wyatt Six.
Wow. I didn't know they got cut.
The whole group got cut. The whole group.
Wow. Yeah. I just seen them.
Yeah. If you heard me earlier, I was saying about how I like the rivalry between them and Solo Sikoa and the MFTs.
Yeah.
They were involved in some. Yeah. They all got cut. Every one of them.
Oh man, that's a shocker.
Yeah, that is. And it's a shame. It really is. Shame on the WWE. Because the intention was to honor Bray Wyatt. That was the intention of keeping him. I guess that must have got old. I guess I'm figuring that's probably why they cut him. It got old, and they weren't really doing anything. They were jobbers for a little while too. So I mean, and WWE needs to get it together with. Here's some more cuts. Well, we saw this coming. Santos Escobar. Remember him? He got cut too. But he was more involved in that AAA thing that they have now. Smokin' Jim. Apollo Crews. Well, yeah, he's been back and forth and in and out of the WWE and NXT, and he's been working, running, going to get donuts for Triple H or whatever. Apollo Crews been doing all that stuff. So, Zoe Stark and Alba Fry. Alba Fry, I was actually quite surprised. She was turned up with Chelsea Green. Well, Chelsea Green's injured anyway. So Alba Fry doesn't have no place to go. And Zoe Stark is gone. So what do you think about this, Smoking? There's more cuts.
I tell you what, man, we could start our own federation, man, with all this great talent, man.
Yeah, and guess who just started his wrestling company? He's got a Canadian wrestling company. It's called Canadian Professional Wrestling. Scott D'Amore, former executive for TNA. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And former wrestler too, Scott D'Amore. Yeah, he just started his own wrestling company. And he's got some good people working there. I heard he's trying to recruit Kenny Omega. So we'll see what happens. NXT departures. They were released. Tyra May Steele, Malik Blade, Luca Crucifino. I was surprised Luca got released. Chris Island, Serena Linton, and Trill London. Due to expected unannounced new signings. Let me see here. Future plans. The Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, are reportedly expected to join AEW. Now, here's what I got here. And this is from the WWE website. Their 90-day non-compete clause. That's the clause I was talking about earlier, Smoking Jim, that when you leave the WWE, you have a non-compete clause. You have to sit out for 90 days. That's what Andrade had to do, okay, before he went into AEW. And AEW violated the terms of that when they brought him in too soon. But as soon as they're done, Tony Khan has reportedly signed. They will be signing a contract with AEW. So there's your answer to that, Smoking Jim, and everyone else there. So anyway, it says here that Triple H, Paul Effect made the final decisions on the roster cuts. I'm actually quite shocked of that. And I'm also hearing that TKO made this call. They're fighting back and forth. There's rumors about that. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't say. I'm not in that business on that end. I just broadcasted. So, it says Liv Morgan will defend her title as well at Backlash. Yeah, she will, Pensman, but I don't know with whom yet. We will find out. Probably so, Aruka. I don't know anybody on that roster that probably would want to, defend against her anyway at this point. I can't even think of anybody. So, and Io Sky, she was trying to interrupt Becky Lynch or whatever. And, so you know what happened to that. She possibly could be going up against Becky Lynch at Backlash. That might not be a bad idea for her to get back into the championship hunt like Tiffany Stratton did. Smoking Jim, what do you think about Io Sky possibly doing that?
Nah, she could pull it off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And she's a fan favorite as well. So that's exactly it there. So, all right, Smoking Jim, we're going to wrap up a little earlier here. What are your thoughts? You have any final thoughts? Anything you want to talk about here before we wrap up our final show here of Wrestletalk? Go ahead.
Well, wrestling's my favorite thing to do of the week, and I appreciate the fans and the people that supported us over the years.
Yes, absolutely. I do too. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in and watching over the years. And it's really sad that we have to take this show off the air. But as I mentioned, Smoking Jim and I will be doing special shows. Pensman could possibly join me. Brian Pettit. We're all into wrestling. We're all going to be doing some post pay-per-view shows, maybe pre-shows for the different pay-per-views as well. We could be doing that. Maybe even some live streaming. There's a lot of possibilities out here that we could be doing. So stay tuned here on RW Media Productions on my social media platform. Ralph's Opinion back next week, next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. on my Wednesday slot. I'm staying there. I was going to move it, but I'm staying there. I had some folks email me and call me and say, keep it there because it'll confuse people. So we're going to keep it there at 7:30 on Wednesdays. Ralph's Opinion, a very popular show, very high-rated show, get a lot of views. even without certain things. Ralph's opinion will be back. And then the Saturday sports show, Saturday at 10 a.m., that is still going on. Leo Haggerty, Pensman Sports, Brian Pettit, and myself, we're all going to be involved in that as well every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, and the Kick Network, and also on Pensman Sports and Brian Pettit's networks as well. We'll be on Saturdays. And so I just want to let everyone know that as well. All right, for Smokin' Jim Frazier, I am Ralph Williams. Have yourself a great one. It's been a pleasure over the years, and I want to thank everybody. But don't worry, we're still going to be doing things here on RW Media Productions involving wrestling, whether it's Ralph Reports, whether it's pre and post game, our pre and post shows for pay-per-views, whether it's AEW or WWE. It all depends on what's going on. And we'll be doing some special shows as well. So I just want to let everyone know that as well. Until next time, by all means, please be safe. Thank you.